Okay, I've had some requests for additional examples, and so I'm going to run through some quick area examples, and then I'm going to get to the missing side examples. So perimeter, remember perimeter is just all the way around, so there is a formula for the perimeter of a square. It's 4 times the length of a side, but it's just because each side is the same length. So 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 40. Area of a square, side squared, or length times width, 6 times 6, 36. Perimeter of a square again, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. And then area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. Do be careful. If you noticed in my examples in Ms. Grubel's video, it does say exact answer. So when it says exact answer, that means you cannot use 3.14 for pi, because that is an approximation of pi, okay? So you actually have to leave pi in the answer, and it goes number and then pi. So if the radius is 8, we put 8 in for radius. 8 squared is 64. So we would write this as 64 pi. If we were to get a decimal approximation, we would then say, okay, what's 64 times 3.14? We want to leave it as an exact answer, so our answer is 64 pi. Excuse me. Okay, area of this trapezoid. The area formula of a trapezoid is a lot like triangle. It's 1/2 base times height. The problem is, in a trapezoid, there are actually 2 bases, and we have to add them together. So it's 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. And our bases are like this top and this bottom. So we're actually just going to add the top and the bottom together to find out what's the base height. So we would say, okay, 14 plus 4, that's 18, times the height of the thing, which would be how tall does it stand, which is 9 in this case. And then half of 18 is 9. And then 9 times 9, that gives me a final answer of 81 square inches. Perimeter of a triangle, okay, perimeter, always just add up all the outsides. So 20 plus 12 is 32, and then 16 more would be 48. 36. Yeah, okay. Sorry, sometimes I like to add it twice just to confirm. Perimeter of a parallelogram all the way around. This is actually a rhombus because all the sides are the same. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 5 times 4 is 20. And perimeter of a perimeter of a rectangle is 1 plus 15 is 16, 17, and then 15 more. I probably in my head would actually do 15 plus 15 is 30, 31, 32. Now we have to start solving for lengths, okay? So it tells me the area, and it wants to know what's the diameter. So the area formula for a circle is pi r squared. That's going to give me the area. But in this case, I don't have a radius to plug in, but I do have an area I could plug in. So we would say pi times radius squared is equal to 16 pi. And then it becomes just like any other algebra problem. This is pi right here is just a number. And so I'm actually just going to divide pi on both sides. And that's going to give me radius squared is equal to 16. And so this is what number multiplies by itself to get 16. And I hope you're thinking 4 right now. But I can use algebra to undo the square by taking the square root of both sides. and that's going to get me the radius is 4. Now, I want to be careful and not answer 4 because I just found that the radius is 4, and it wants to know what's the diameter. Well, the diameter would be this whole length. Remember, the radius is just half of it. So that means I would need to take radius plus radius, which would be 4 plus 4, and get a diameter of 8. All right, another missing side. We are looking for the base of a triangle given its area, okay? So 1/2 base times height, that is our area formula for a triangle. So we're just going to use that. We're going to plug in what we know. We know the height is 10. We know the area is 25. So 1/2 base times height is equal to 25. Okay, so then we actually, on this left side, we can actually take 1/2 of 10, even though this b is in the middle because of the way commutative property works. So 1/2 of 10 or 1/2 times 10 is 5. So this actually becomes 5b is equal to 25. So then the question becomes 5 times what is 25? Hope you're thinking 5, but we can use a little algebra to solve this by dividing both sides by 5. And so we end up with b equals 5. And b in this case is our base. I should maybe have made it c in the problem when I was substituting, but alas, I did not. All right. This is going to be a lot like the last circle problem. It wants to know what's the radius. It gives me the area. And remember we said pi r squared, that's how we find the area of a circle. And so we don't know radius, so this is going to be pi r squared still. The only thing we do know in this problem is that the area is 9 pi. So we would just plug 9 pi in, and then we would divide by pi. And that would give us that radius squared is going to be 9. And so then you're thinking, what can I multiply by itself to get 9? And I hope you're thinking 3, but remember there's an algebraic way to solve for this. Get rid of the square with the square root, and the radius is 3. And it does just ask for radius this time. So we don't have to go any further, like multiplying by 2 or anything, because that did solve for radius. So this time we are again wanting to know radius, but we are given circumference this time instead of radius. So remember, to find the circumference of a circle, you do 2 times pi times the radius, and that's going to give you circumference. You can also do pi times diameter, and this will work similarly, but you'll have to divide by 2 at the end because you'll have diameter. Okay, so we're going to plug in 8 8 pi for the circumference here. So we have 8 pi here. And we're wanting to solve for the radius, and I can actually divide by 2 pi at the same time, or I can divide by 2 and then divide by pi, whatever you're most comfortable with. But because this is all multiplication, I can just divide away what I don't want on this left side. I can do it all at the same time. So if I divide both sides by 2 pi, 2 divided by 2 goes to 1, pi divided by pi goes to 1, and I'm left with 1r. And over here, 8 divided by 2 becomes 4, And pi divided by pi becomes 1, and 4 times 1 is just 4, leaving me with a radius of 4. Okay? The circumference is what's given, and I'm looking for radius, so this problem is exactly like the previous problem. So we just talked about 2 pi r gives us our circumference. And so 2 pi r is going to be equal to 20 pi. I'm just substituting circumference in. This circumference right here. And remember, we just talked about the fact that to solve for r, I can divide by both 2 and pi at the same time. On this left side, 2 divided by 2 is 1, pi divided by pi is 1. That leaves me with 1r. On this right side, 20 divided by 2 is 10. Pi divided by pi is 1. 10 times 1 is just 10. So that's going to leave me with a radius of 10. Okay, we have a square here. I know that because y and y mean they're the same length. So I have 4 sides that are the same. I'm given area, and I want to find y. So I know that if I multiply y times y, I'm going to get 25. And so really you're just thinking in your head, like, what multiplies by itself to get 25? And I hope you're thinking 5. This is a perimeter question, and so adding up all the sides and setting it equal to perimeter. So you would think about it like 6 plus p plus 12 plus p is going to be equal to 50. And so I'm going to just combine like terms here. My p plus p is going to be 2p. And my 6 plus 12 is going to be 18. And then I can solve this by subtracting 18 from each side. And I'm going to get 2p is equal to 32. And then I'll just divide by 2. And I'm going to get p is equal to 16. And I could check that by putting 16 and 16 here, adding up and making sure that I really do get 50. Okay, so we've hit 90 and we get to these complex figures, and you can do this if you want for bonus points. The way you would do it is you would cut this figure into pieces, and you would find the area of each piece, and then you would add that area up together. For this one, I might actually give you extra bonus points just because this is tough. It's really tough on this one to get to 100. Okay, guys, I hope that second video helped. Good luck. Let me know if you need anything else.